Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest center in the history of the National Football League. Your inductee into the Hall of Fame, number 52, Iron Mike Webster.
Thank you. Thank you. Unbelievable. Here's a piece of work, Lord. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Where's Lambert? Joe, where's Lambert? There you go. I did that for Lambert. Well, as you can tell, when sometimes you think things change, they stay the same. Giving Bradshaw a forum and a microphone is like giving Visine to a peeping Tom, you know. Yeah, I want to see that ball there. That's my ball, okay? I don't want you selling it, and I don't want to see 500,000 copies on the market at Dick's Sporting Goods next week. I want to keep that. That has value to me, you know. And I'd like to begin, obviously. I want it to be fun, but I want it to be truthful, and I want you to understand, as you well do, what this is all about. The people out there are tremendous fans. Locally, the Pittsburgh Steelers fans are tremendous fans. But as we go through this, I want you to understand another thing, that when it's all said and done, as these gentlemen over here have provided us with an opportunity, this class, tremendous group of football people, owners, coaches, and players. However, the most important thing is that they're tremendous people. Not perfect people, not people that are pretentious or whatever. They're real people. And that's what the game of football is all about. And I appreciate that very much. But before I even start, and I'd like to introduce a lot of the tremendous, most important people in my life, obviously. Members of my family. I'd like the members of my immediate family, Pamela, and my children to stand up. And remain standing, please. I'd like my mom and dad, my brothers and sisters, and Pam's mom and dad, and all the brothers and sisters, relatives to stand up, please. Remain standing, remain standing. And there's a reason for this. Remain standing, please. I also like any member of the Steelers organization, past, present, or future, stand up. Ed Kiley's over here. I know Ed used to be with us. And members of the, over here in the alumni, Jack. I'd also like members of the Kansas City Chiefs organization to stand up, please. I know Mr. and Mrs. Lamar Hunt are here, Carl Peterson, Tim Connolly. Remain standing, please. And I'd like all the Pittsburgh Steelers fans to stand up. And I'd like the fans of professional football in general to stand up, all fans, for any reason to stand up. Remain standing for a second. far as I go with that one. Carl, I didn't get over there. I couldn't make it, buddy. I'll catch you later. But the big thing about it is that we're all in this together, right? And yeah, we compete against one another on Sunday, and we hate each other on Sunday. I still hate Lambert. I mean, every day for years. I mean, it took us 2 years to figure it out that we were on the same team. But every single day, you know. But he started it, you know. He was miserable from the beginning. He didn't like himself. But he made me a better football player. And the Pittsburgh Steelers provided me with an opportunity with the environment that they had already instilled from 1969 on. But you got to remember now, it's 40 years. 40 years of not failure, because you don't fail until it's all said and done and then you're on the bottom. That's not failure. You only fail if you don't finish the game. If you finish, you win. Okay? But you don't measure it in the middle of the second quarter, third quarter. You measure it at the end. As long as you keep going, you keep trying, you keep working at it, all right? Sometimes you're going to be down. Sometimes you're going to be struggling. But when I was in Pittsburgh and when I was in Kansas City, I knew I was there with people that worked together. We were on the same team. We could depend on one another. Yeah, in the National Football League, there's only one team that wins the championship, and as it should be, all right? In that arena, that's what it should be. That's what we all understand that up front, okay? But as all of these men here understand, the very best in your profession, or the very best as a measuring stick, what that goal is, does not have to be the point of a pencil. It doesn't have to be a dot where one person can stand. It could be a plateau, and a lot of people can get there. Okay, there's a standard of excellence. There's a standard of success that everybody can attain, but it's measured differently. You have to measure it by where you started out from, what you've overcome, and what you've dealt with. But the big thing is that you keep going forward. And the greatest thing that's happened to me in my experience in professional football is to have the opportunity to work with people with a common goal and with the same purpose and to sacrifice. The Kansas City Chiefs have such a rich and storied tradition, much like the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I had the opportunity to play for two fantastic owners, and even more important, two very, very special people. The Chief, Mr. Rooney, Arthur J. Rooney, the founder and president of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody knows how special and wonderful he is. I don't have to go into that. And Mr. Lamar Hunt, also a founder and owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, is a fabulous person and a wonderful person. His wife, Norma, provided me, and Carl Peterson, provided me with the opportunity, even though he tricked me and fooled me into going to Kansas City. I went there only for the purpose, initially, I know, and I didn't tell you this, why in the world anybody would want a 15-year center. I thought I had to go find out, right? And when I did, they had me. Him and Marty Schottenheimer, enthusiastic, eloquent speakers, personable guys, you know, tell me how great I was at, and I believed it, you know. I never worked so hard in my life. And it was painful, too. But it was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And then I still have my championship rings. I still have my Super Bowl rings, so contrary to what you might have heard. But I don't need the rings, and I don't need to wear those rings to know how special that time was for me, because the rings are symbols. The relationship with the players and the things that we did together over a period of time was very, very special. And the whole experience was very, very special. And the other day we had an opportunity to listen to the old-timers over there speak about what it was like in their career and whatnot. And they talked a little bit about what they could do to maybe turn around the attitude and what was happening with the younger players. And the best thing that we could do is to go on ourselves and to be successful, to work together. We have great resources amongst ourselves, and together we have strength. We can do anything we want to do together. We don't need anybody's permission. We don't need anybody's approval. And we don't need to be selfish, which we aren't. But we can attain anything we ever attained on the football field if we do it together. And that's the best thing we could do for the young players, is not to go down and counsel them and tell them of what they should do or how they should change and this and that. The best thing we could do is to go ourselves and to go forward and achieve things and to reach our goals, because those goals would include everything that was good for the entire group. And that's the very, very special thing about being a Pittsburgh Steeler and a Kansas City Chief. From the very top down, it's very, very evident why they have very rich and storied histories. And I've had very, very great pleasure, and I don't say this, it's painful to play football, obviously. It's not fun out there being two-a-day drills and the heat of the summer and banging heads, and it's not a natural thing. Football is kind of rare in that it tests you mentally, physically, and emotionally in so many different ways. And you know what? The worst part about that is it's on film. If you get your tail kicked out there, it's on film. And the next day, you got to watch it with the boss. Guys like Coach Don Shula, the winningest coach in NFL history and the second greatest coach in NFL history, who incidentally gave us the greatest coach in NFL history. But like I said, the top measuring stick, the very top rung of the ladder doesn't have to be a point, it could be a rung, so you guys are equal. But anyway, it's there's just so many people that have taken part, and that's the most important thing. Hell, I like I said, I was no ballerina out there. I wasn't pretentious, and I worked hard because I was scared. I was scared I would fail. Honest to God, I was scared I'd fail. Scared of the possibility of failure, I should say that. And I'm still scared of that, because that's the motivator that we go through. And the failure I'm talking about is the failure to be the very best that we have been given the talent to be and are accountable for. And now they can be in different areas. Everybody has very significant talents, but a lot of them are in different areas. They're not all the same, but in a lot of ways, ladies and gentlemen, we are the same. We have the same fears, we have the same desires, we have the same temptations. We have a lot of those basic fundamentals. So what we decide to do with those, is up to us, but it's important to be truthful with ourselves so we understand them. And as a football player, you embarrass yourself a lot of times. I mean, over and over and over again. I've embarrassed myself over and over and over again. And I admit it. But you know what? If I concentrated or tried to concentrate and worked every second, 24 hours a day for every moment of my life to not do it, I'd still embarrass myself. And I'd still make mistakes and I'd still screw up. But that's okay. And it's okay for other people to do that. And if you do that, and I think if you do realize that and you do understand that, then you can make progress. Then you can be willing to go forward and attempt things and learn what life's really all about. You can have the opportunity to experience things that maybe you'd be afraid to try if you didn't, Who wants to get to the end of their life, like Longfellow says, and find out that you have not lived at all? We are free to do that. But the freedom to do that, it has to include the opportunity. And many of you people out there, and especially over there, have provided opportunities for people like myself, and it's up to us to continue to provide that opportunity, not only in football, but in every area of life. And you know what? We're in this damn thing together, folks. And I'm talking about the things that are going on today that have been ignored for a long period of time. And we're addressing them now because we have a history of addressing them only when they jump up and bite us in the ass. And not until we do that. But we can change that. We can change. But we're in this thing. We've got to care about one another. We've got to care about our kids. We've got to care about a lot of things. And we do care about a lot of things, but we got to have enough people caring and working together. And we can get that done. It's not impossible. Hell, nothing else is working. Maybe it's idealistic, but nothing else is working, folks. And I'm just appreciative that I had the opportunity to play with these men, both in Pittsburgh and Kansas City, and against the jerks on the other team. I have another term, but I try to keep it halfway decent. But one of the real significant things for myself in being here today was getting Bradshaw here. I couldn't find him for a long period of time, and he steadfastly refused to come in and introduce me because he's afraid having the opportunity to follow him instead of being ahead of him. You know, because he was an ugly baby when he was born, you know, and he didn't want, he talks about me being ugly, right? I mean, he was ugly when he was born. I asked his mom that, and she said, that's true. She said, Dad told me, his dad said, he says, he was so ugly his mom carried him around upside down for 2 weeks, thought he only had one eye, you know. Anyway, the biggest thing is I'd just like to thank everyone that I have played with, had the opportunity to play with, and the offensive linemen. I stand up here and accept this award, and heaven forbid they made a bust out of me, but hopefully there's enough shadow and curves and whatnot that they would, that it doesn't scare anybody away. But the big thing is they put one of us up here for the Hall of Fame, okay? But the jacket that I took off is really, they got hundreds and hundreds and actually thousands of people in it because it represents not only the players and coaches and owners and coaching staffs and assistant coaches and whatnot that were involved in this thing, because football is a consummate team sport. And I needed guys to help me. I had to have a Bradshaw. I need to have a Franco Harris to spread out the defense vertically and horizontally, so especially in space, I wasn't real visible when I missed blocks, you know. And you got recognition at a young enough age that, and by winning championships, somebody had to do it, okay? And I certainly wasn't willing to correct anybody early on in my career when they wanted to give me credit as being a halfway decent player. I was just, as long as I was quiet about it, you know, I mean, that maybe people wouldn't find out, but I enjoyed it. And the reason I was good, don't get me wrong, because it is a talent and it is a gift if you work hard, if you do everything you possibly, if you develop the work habits and you give everything you got, and you study film and you help maybe some of the younger guys in any way, shape, or form that you can. That's a talent. I wasn't fast, I wasn't big, I wasn't strong. But you can make up for things in different areas in other ways, and those are talents and gifts too. So it's important for each and every one of us to recognize that we do have some talents, special talents. Some are very obvious, some may not have developed yet, so don't give up on yourself. Continue to develop, continue to try, do not be afraid to fail, because you're going to fail, believe me. And there's no one keeping score. All we have to do is finish the game, and we'll all be winners. And if we're going to finish the game and all be winners, why not enjoy it a little bit more by caring about one another and making sure they have an opportunity to understand what that's all about. Now, in closing, I said I made mistakes. I say I screw up, right? I made a huge boner in this thing right here, in this event. There's a gentleman that's not here, a very, very special person, and I wanted to get him here, and he was he's one of the very truly significant persons in my life, and there's always so many, I couldn't mention them all anyway. You got Johnny Listini over here has been just a tremendous friend. And if I start talking about him, I'll start bawling like a baby, and I don't want to do that, you know. He knows how I feel about him. But there's a guy I did not get in here for this event. I failed miserably. And there's no way I can apologize him, but, you know, he won't expect an apology. He'll probably just kick my ass the next time he sees me. But he's the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator at the University of Nebraska, Charlie McBride, who coached under Frank Kush. Frank is a great football coach. But when, Mike, you said it was fun or enjoyable or a pleasure to play for him. You had that mountain you had at Arizona State? Did you run up that thing? Just one? You must have transferred after that. But anyway, in closing, Charlie, I'm sorry. God bless you. You are fabulous. You've helped so many players in so many ways. And I remember you wanted to send me back to Harshaw, and just because I wanted to play defense one day, but I screwed up bad in not getting him here because I wanted him here. He was special. Mr. Tim Connolly, and everybody has we're very fortunate. We have a lot of friends in life. We have a lot of great and wonderful people, and everybody has those several really, really uniquely special friends, and I've had more than my share of them, and I've had more than my share of blessings. And when it comes to the Hall of Fame, I mean, it's when they say, what is it like, I said, well, I'm way past using up my quota. So I'm very, very appreciative, and I'm thankful, and I just want it to be fun. You know, that's what it should be. Obviously, on the football field, when the balloon goes up, fun is winning. And winning in the National Football League and being successful, the object of the National Football League is to be the best, the Super Bowl champions. And let's understand that is the goal in professional football. Because we have to be honest about it, okay? So when we start talking about those things, that is the goal. But that means a player, okay, that he's trying to achieve that goal, there's other things that they can get out of the game that you have to get out of it. But in other areas, at certain ages, while they're growing and developing, to get to that opportunity, you have to give them the chance to develop and grow and to do it without them being afraid to go in there and fail. So encourage one another, especially the children, and not only do we have to do things to provide them, to continue to provide them with the opportunity, we have to give back some things to redevelop opportunities, and we'll all benefit from that. So I thank you very, very much for, I guess.